Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live peoples and recorded for Ustream.tv and also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I've been playing with colour in my Anamorphia last week, and I really like these vibrant, bright hydrus watercolours. And because of this book and also a colour scheme for my daughter's tree, she wanted green and red and white, I thought about this colour book. So I've had a bit of a play with these really vibrant colours and I really like them, but there's a few colours missing. I've only got series 1, so I thought I might make some nice greens because I made that one myself. I only have phthalo green, which is quite a vibrant bright green, so I'm going to try and make some nice greens and some yellows and oranges, some proper reds, and probably put them in a proper colour wheel, very similar to what we had before. So we'll have an orangey yellow, a dull yellow, a bright yellow, then we'll go into the oranges, and that's a cad red, so I need some oranges. There's Elysian crimson, and there's quinacridone magenta, so they're really pink. Then there's a purple. Then there's sorry, there's a purple. There should be a purple. French ultramarine, purpley blue. Then there's cobalt blue and phthalo blue, phthalo green, and then I've got a couple of browns. But what I wanted to do was to get some nice greens in there. Left some water in that one. Don't know how I've done that. Don't want any water in these because these are liquid watercolours, so you have to give them a little bit of a shake. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I've got 12. So I've got 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I've got 18 colours. So I can get the 2 browns in there. Don't really need black or white, but I want to make some other greens. So we know that the cad red can go there, and I need another red in between. I'm not really bothered about the pink. I'd rather have a pinky purple that I make myself. Then there's a bluey purple, which I want. I like the gamboge, that will stay. I want a couple of oranges. The cobalt blue is quite cold, and then phthalo and green, and I want some greens here. So I'll probably put Elysian crimson here. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Thank you. I just want to do easy watercolouring with a bit of a brush. That's just what I need to do. I've been making a few books and things are a bit too much for me. So I've got Elysian crimson. I could possibly start with, we'll start here with lemon. Start with a lemon yellow. Put all these in that order. And then if I've got room for the others, they go in as well. So I'm going to put the yellow one here because this will be the start of the greens. So I'm going to put a couple of drops in the bottom of there. I don't normally, but I'm going to take this away with me. So I can put this one next. This is good for skin tones as well. This is yellow ochre. And then we have a gamboge, but I think what we could have is a cad yellow. And I think a cad yellow is going to be that's a cad yellow. It's a warm yellow. So I've got my lemon yellow and now I've got my cad yellow. Yes, Suzanne, I'm not doing the proper colour mixing. I'm just giving myself the Christmas colours. That's what I want to do. But you only need 6 colours for colour mixing. You need a lemon yellow, you need cadmium yellow, you need alizarin crimson, you need cadmium red, you need French ultramarine, and you need cerulean blue. You only need 6. These just happen to come in a set, but as I say, I'm a bit cross with myself because I can't make the other one. And then I have this, so I've got a cad red. So this one is gamboge. Now gamboge is I would call that almost a tangerine colour. Now this is just for Christmas. So I actually want an orange. So I've got 2 choices. I can put yellow and cad red together. I've got orange written there, but I think I'm going to put, could do with another one. What we could do is to put some gamboge there. It's a shame to spoil gamboge, but never mind. Put some gamboge in there and just put, remember cad red is normally very vibrant. I was looking for a smaller stick, I haven't got one. No, I shan't use that. Oh, that's gorgeous. That's a gorgeous orange red. So then the next one is going to be cad red. And then we could have, the next one is alizarin crimson. But I think we could have maybe a little bit of a pinkier red. So we could have something between. So we could have, that's the cad red. So I'm going to put a little bit of cad red, and this is the one that I dropped. So I could actually do half of that. And again, this one is going to be very vibrant. There's just a touch there. But that's given, it's very similar, but I like that one actually. That's more of a cad red. So I'm going to do another one. Bear in mind, this is Christmas, so we've got Robin Christmases. We've got all sorts of different colours. So that's the cad red again, and I'm going to put a bit bigger blob in this time. And that's another different colour. It's very similar, but I prefer that one. If we actually have a look, we could actually have a look at that, couldn't we? And we say that one is a pinky red. I actually prefer that one. So let's just have a look at this one. So I could probably put a little bit more orange in that one. And then this has got to be alizarin crimson, which is quite pinky. And I really like that one. more than I like. No, I like that one. And then we've got that one. See, that's an orangey one. Slight difference. But I prefer that one, so I'm going to change this one. I'm going to change this one, and it should be there really, but it's not going to bother me too much. No, I prefer that one. So I prefer that one, so I can now put some of this one into this one. And that's given me a lovely cherry red, so I've got some nice reds there. I was looking for a pinky red before it went to very red, but I like that one, so I've got that one. So I've got some nice oranges to reds. So I can put the reds and the yellows away. So I have a pinky red, so now we want a purple. So I'm going to put a purple in that one. And I'm going to put a little bit of magenta in that one. And then I'm going to put the tiniest amount in there. And that will give me a slightly darker pink. That's quite a nice. So I've got a pink, and then I've got the deep purple. So I need now 2 blues. I might run out of space for greens, but hopefully not. It's frightened me to death then. So we've got purple. So I now need French ultramarine, which I'm going to put in this one. So if I have a blue and I've got 4 greens there, might just about have enough room. So there's French ultramarine, but I'm just going to put a touch of French ultramarine in there and a touch of purple, and that's going to give me that one. This is going to be purple. Yes, I am recording, Suzanne. Hi, Judy. So that's purple, and then this is a purpley blue. So that's like a French ultramarine. And then I've got what they call French ultramarine. So I've got 3 lovely purples there. So that I now need a colder blue. So I'm going to put all those warm colours away. I now need a colder blue, which is a cobalt blue. I think a phthalo blue, maybe. But if I put phthalo blue there and the green there, I'm going to be put cobalt blue there. And then, I mean, you can put one in between, the tertiaries in between. And then I want a cobalt blue here, and I want a drop. I've put far too much blue in that actually. Let me see if I can get some of that back. Because this is going to be quite some nice greens now. And I've upset Mr. Phthalo because I haven't used his. So that's a really nice rich green. So I can do the same again in here. But it's a bit darker. So I can make that a bit lighter, because what I'm going to do, it's quite a light a light green there. I'm going to leave that like that because I'm going to put the phthalo green and the phthalo blue out, purely because they're quite nice for Christmas. So I'm going to put the phthalo blue here, and then I'm going to put, phthalo green and phthalo blue at the end, because they're kind of a rule unto their own. And they will dry. When they're dried, I can take them with me. What I would have normally done is put a blue-green in there, and I would have put a very pale yellow there, almost a yellow-green. But if you look on the colour wheel that we did, it's... but I'm doing this for Christmas. I'm not doing this for Art in the Abbey. This is just Christmassy colours, hence why I've got all the cherry reds. So I pop all these back in their little boxes. And you couldn't tip this up because it's still wet, but a couple of days and these will dry. Sometimes they dry overnight, but I have put extra in there. Don't need the black and I don't need the white, so they can go away. So I thought I would do this page first as a practice. So again, you've got the pale colour. Now I am going to mix colours here. I'm going to colour mix, so you've got to be careful because these are very vibrant and they are watercolours. So you've got to be very careful because whatever colour you put in any, even the yellow, it will change it, and I don't want to do that. So you do have to wash your brush out quite a lot. I've been working with this one, quite like this one, and the rigger, the number 1. These are the Daily Rowney rigger, and a round one, number 3 and a number 1. I've also got some other riggers, but I'm not doing the watercolour effect. I'm just actually colouring in. Oh, hi Juju, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else that I missed? I just thought I would have a play in my Johanna's Christmas book. So we've got some cherries here. So again, I have a piece of paper. I've got all these reds, and I like this one, I think, for the cherry red. But you can have a play, and if you're not happy, so this is the one that was half and half, and you want the tiniest amount of colour, just a touch into there. Now I'm just doing this as I call normal. It's not watercoloured, it's not highlighted, it's just very, very dry because we don't want to go through. Again, this is a practice page. There's a couple of practice pages, so this is quite nice to get you into it. So I'm actually going to go around and do all the cherries. You can see, I shall zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I think that's highlighted enough, and it's a lot easier to turn your page around. So I think we said we liked this one, and again the tiniest amount, only on a damp brush. These go an awfully long way. And if you wanted to put a highlight, I mean literally I'm just tapping, just touching, just not even going back into there. So what we could do is just go around that again. Again, don't want too much on there. But I think I'd like this just very simple flat colour. I'm going to be terribly naughty and bend that back gently. Oops. But these hydrus watercolours are very vibrant, You must have a look at the lady when she's creating the watercolours and using them as a traditional watercolour. You literally have the tiniest amount with a lot of water. But this means, especially for this book, the Christmas book, you can get some gorgeous, vivid colours. And let's face it, that's what Christmas is all about. I do love sometimes the pastel colours when they bring out the Christmas decorations, but I'm sorry, I'm a cherry red girl. So this is holly. But the berries are white, or off-white, for the mistletoe. And again, it's a very clean way of working. This dries almost immediately, which is fab if you've got to go anywhere, if you're on a train anywhere. And there's mistletoe, and then we've got a little cherry here. And I was looking at W.H. Smith's in the UK, and there were quite a lot of colour books. And I decided, well, actually, I'm going to draw, because line drawing is my thing, or it used to be my thing. So I'm going to do some line drawings of my design with some Victorian images, and I thought people can just print them off and colour them in. So I think I've created a blog, because I started a web page, but oops, again, far too much on there. You can tell you've got too much when you start to stroke the colour in. So we have our cherries. I bought my Christmas book today. And I've actually been out. I am dressed. Yay! Dressed. Boots on. Found some boots I could wear in the back of the wardrobe that I must have had 20 odd years. So I'm about. I'm up. I'm about. My husband had to go for physio, so he dropped me off, and I ended up in W.H. Smith's with my little wheeler, and I sat in it and looked at thousands of colour books. Well, slight exaggeration, but they had 3 full shelves. I couldn't look at them all. So I'm just going to decide which green I want for the holly. I think the holly one is actually probably a little bit darker than that. So have a quick look. Do I want to mix a holly berry colour, or do I like this one? I think if it's actually undiluted, it's quite a nice colour. But let me have a look, see if I can mix it. So I've been out, I got to the colour books, and I also bought this one as well. I bought 2. Extremely naughty. Did I need another book? I bought this one as well. The Fantastic Beasts book. I found that one. So I bought 2 colour books. So I was rather naughty today, but I think I'm going to try and just have a touch of this green. And if I put it here, there's quite a lot of green there. And just a touch of blue. And we'll see what that does. Do you see how dark that is? It is a little bit dark. I think I like that one. So I've got rather too much on there, so I'm going to have to tap, and I'm going to nip that water out because I don't want it watered down. So we could have a natural highlight there, couldn't we? So if I start with all these darker ones, and again I want this to be really, really quick, really, really relaxing. So I'm not really thinking about watercolouring, but I'm going to go around and do all these darker ones first. I'm going to put that to this side here. So all the ones that look like they've got a bit of a highlight on, I'm going to do. And they're actually naturally having a highlight on that side, because I've only got the colour at the end, so that's quite nice. If I go back to this one now here, oops, that's going to be a little bit paler, and that's going to give me a bit of variation. I just can't help myself. I just have to do a little bit of shading. So I just can't help myself. I just love colour mixing, although I've got to stop myself doing this. I want this to be a vibrant page, but I can't stop myself. If I get a natural highlight there, I just can't help myself. So this one will be quite dark because it's underneath. I just can't stop myself. I love having these little natural highlights, and that's because you use a rigger. But I did want really this page, but that's quite pretty. I quite like that, so I might have to just go with the flow and see what happens. And again, sometimes you pick a paintbrush that you like and you just keep using it over and over again. If I use the round brush, that would be solid colour. It wouldn't do this. It would be very much like the Harry Potter page I did. Sorry, not the Harry Potter page. The Imagimorphia. But I just quite like highlights on things. But I've got away from that because I've gone on to this kind of way of working. This all was done with the round rigger. Sorry, with the round brush. But I did manage to get some natural grading highlights. But these spaces are a little bit too small for this round brush. So I'm just going around picking off all the... And that brush is a bit damp as well. I do want some nice holly leaf colours, really. And this is a practice page, so I shall get a nice kind of way of working while I'm doing this practice, and then I'll think, do I want to continue or do I want to change and do more watercolour effects? And doing this little practice page will help me do that. And again, it's gorgeous paper to work on. And I can just give that a little bit more oomph if I'd like. I kind of like the idea of these being very vibrant. But something happens to me and they don't. They end up with a watercolour effect. but it's so nice to just work this way. It's just a nice, pleasant way to work. You know, got a few colours here, can do some mixing if I want. The rigger is taking all the pressure from my hand, so I can carry on for such a long time. Well, I've been colouring all morning, so all day. So you can do that because all you're doing is bouncing this about. So it's nearly feeding time at the zoo, and I'm home alone, so it's up to me to be chief feeder today. And so I decided not to go to the pencil museum because I'd be very cross. I had to sit opposite the offices, and nobody wants to speak to me. So I like the minty green that I made earlier, so that'd be quite nice. But it's so relaxing, this. Sometimes you forget you're streaming. It's not an effort, whereas other things you're kind of rushing to get things finished. This is something that you just want to just do at your own pace. Alfie's fine. He's under the bed. He's under the desk. He's fine, thank you. He jumped on the bed last night, but he was very good. He slept all night, so he was very good. Thank you for asking, Suzanne. We're just a bit worried that he keeps jumping on and off the sofa and things, and we're worried that he's going to undo all that good work that he's been healed with. But we can't believe he's with us. I just can't believe. Every time I think about it, I keep thinking I must have dreamt it. But and then we lost poor Snowdrop. She went to bed. She went to the vets because she was a bit thin and she didn't come home. Bless her socks. I have some gorgeous footage of her. Her ears were so long that when bunnies stand up, they pull their ears forward and then they kind of nibble them to clean them. And I had to hold the tip so she could wash them because her ears were so long she couldn't get to the ends. So funny. She did grow into her ears, but when she was tiny, she had the biggest ears. So Snowdrop, because she sat in my hand when I rescued her, was the runt of the family and was probably never going to grow much bigger. Turned out to be a giant white, the size of a small puppy. But she loved Thumper the disabled rabbit. And she'd run round the house, and then she'd jump on the sofa next to him and snuggle with him. So I really like these colours. Yeah, so bunny buns. But that was our three. We had the horrendous fight. And then the vet thinks it's because Alfie, when he first arrived, was so naughty. He used to bite the back of the lurcher's legs constantly. Because, of course, he was only a little puppy and she was a tall lurcher. And he couldn't reach her mouth to annoy her, so he used to bite the back of her legs. And used to drive her insane. And I think the vet thinks that she'd not forgotten that, and when he was incapacitated, that was her moment for her to box his ears. So hopefully we've still got little Georgie, who's a dwarf. He's rescued as well. He's on his own now. So I said to my husband, we've got to get another bunny to... I'm just wondering if I could give him away at Christmas, because one of my brother-in-laws lost his rabbit and he loved his buns, and he lost both of them, I think, now. So I was thinking, if he would like Georgie, because I know that he absolutely adores buns. He would have a good home, because I'd like to claim my lounge back. It's been a zoo for long enough. So again, it's a really nice, peaceful way of working, just picking them off, choosing the colours, and these are gorgeous colours. They're very vibrant. Well, they are if you don't water them down. I just give that one a little bit of oomph. And then when I go back to that one, this should be pale for the outline. Probably too pale, that one. So if anybody's got any questions, I'm in my own little world, in my own little colour world. And this is what I like about colouring, it's so easy. I like watercolouring because it's just so easy. They just have a normal cage, a normal cage inside. I mean, Thumper was hardly in his cage, he just slept in his cage. He was in a basket. He just used to sit in a basket, he used to go to the shops, he used to go everywhere. Oopsie. Georgie is a dwarf thingy. So I think I need a paler colour for that. Well, we didn't intend to get any rabbits, they're all rescued. A lady knocked on my door about 6 years ago and said, "Have you lost your rabbit?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, there's one running around the main road," which is not good. So I bent down and picked him up, and he was a little dwarf one. So we put him in the garden at the back, and he got the worm disease. So he was inside, and then we've got a couple of guinea pigs to look after him. For a few years, he had rescued guinea pigs. I think that's like an ivy, and ivy is a little bit paler. So I'm just going to take, I could actually, if I wanted, I could take some yellow, and I could put that into here. And again, just to test. And I've messed up a bit because I've just by adding yellow, I've got another green. So I've got this lovely ivy green. Now I've got quite a lot on here, so I'm just going to get rid of this if I can, because I mixed it in this brush, so it's full. And I'll go back in with a 010 to do the stems. But I've just made a mistake, because just there is some more holly. I've missed some holly, and I've still got the colour. Right in the corner here is a little bit of colour. So I need to pinch that colour. Now it's not vital, but I would like the same colour. So I might just have enough. But I know what it is. It's a bit of that one and a bit of that one. If it was a bit more complicated, that would be a little bit more difficult, but it isn't. And then I've missed this one here, so if I just move this out of the way here, put everything to that side. And I can lift that, add another paintbrush. Hi Dorothy, welcome to Bonnie's Designs. Anybody else that's popped in? Beloved Ghost. Just having a bit of a play in my Johanna Basford Christmas book. I found some more holly leaves here, so I've got to colour these in. So you can do lots of different things. You can add water to colour them down, or you can just take the colour as almost neat and really get that gorgeous rich colours. That's a combination of the two greens that I mixed myself, so they're not in the pot, and a lot better. So you need 6 Dr. Martens hydrus, that's all, and then you can play with a wet palette. When they're dried, you just use them dry with a damp brush. Sorry, he's getting organised, is the other little boy. So I do want quite a dark leaf under there, so I'm just going to put that one dark. But this is just a practice to see which leaves I like, what colours I like. Do I like the fact that they're all different? So I can put that little bit into there. And the little leaves could be a little bit darker. And I do need a touch of yellow back into here. It's a little bit too pale, a little bit too dark, is that? That's not the same green, so I need to really get some yellow into there, and I'm gonna have to what colour does that make? That's quite a nice green, is that? That's quite a nice green, but it's not really the green that I want, so I'm gonna have to go out of there and really get some yellow into here. I want a really pale. I need a very pale green. Now that's quite wet, is that? But that's fine. It's probably a little bit too wet than I would normally like, but this is really, really good paper. But a good practice would be to photocopy a page, have a play with colour, have a play with water, have a play with the pens, the brushes you've got rather, and then you'll end up with a section that you quite like. You like the colours, or some colours you might like slightly better, but you want to mix your own colours from 6 main colours. You only need six watercolours. I would get a brown, and I would get yellow ochre, and burnt umber and burnt sienna. But then I would only get 6 colours. Probably a white. Wouldn't bother with the black because I make my own blacks. Never use black if you can help it. But white for highlights, yes. But not for watercolours. No point buying white for watercolours. because for one it won't work. You can't put watercolour white on anything. It doesn't work. And if you say the word white gouache to a pure watercolourist, they will shoot you down. They will not be happy with you. Best thing to do is to mask out what you want to be white, colour your page, then pull your masking fluid off. Then you get your pure white. That's if you're on white paper, obviously. Just a touch too not wet enough, that. See, these colours you could buy 6 if you wanted. So I quite like these colours. Gouache, yeah. White gouache goes over watercolour. Shh, don't tell everybody. It's not nice. But you don't need it. As when I do the art in the Abbey, you work from white to dark. When you work with acrylics or oils, you work the other way. And so I think that might be a little bit pale, maybe. I don't know. So I'm going to turn that to find a large leaf. And again, all these are slightly different because I'm making the green up. So if you want them all perfectly the same, if you're doing a mandala, then you need to mix enough colour. And it doesn't matter if that dries, it's watercolour. Acrylics won't do that, and oils won't if you don't cover them in oil. But these watercolours, most watercolours will reconstitute back. That's actually probably a nicer colour than that one. I just need a touch more green in there. And I am working backwards in this corner, but it's fine. And now that's that little bit too darker, but never mind, it's fine. This is a practice page. And sometimes you make a colour and you think you don't like it. When it's finished, you prefer that colour. So again, another reason to do a photocopy, except for I've been photocopying a lot. So I can just about judge the water, the amount of dampness that pages can take. But it took a lot of practice. But when you can watercolour on, and I say watercolour as in my watercolouring with a damp brush, when you can do that on photocopy paper, you can do that on any paper, because photocopy paper is the thinnest. There's only the very cheap, nasty colour books that have anything not as good as photocopy paper. Did that make sense? Was that as clear as mud? Yeah, you can use gouache for white, but if you say that to a pure watercolourist, they will faint. So when we do art in the Abbey, hopefully we'll have a nice drawing we'll pick a nice drawing, and then we'll have some colour mixing, and then we'll paint, or we'll colour in our drawing. And we should have acrylics and oils and watercolours. And I do have pastels, but not sure if I'm brave enough to do pastels, because they're just a bit too messy for me. But I think I need to use all my supplies up, so pastels might be at the end. We'll see. I'll probably love the pastels once I get using them. And they are pastels, not oil pastels. I have oil pastels as well. So I need a very pale green in a second for the mistletoe. What does Suzanne say? Tell us about the napkin. What? Well, that's very dry. And watercolouring on a napkin. If you can watercolour in a napkin, then you can watercolour in everything, but you don't have to go that far. I just found a black and white napkin. I think I sent Dee Dee a few to send out, or photocopy. To photocopy and send out so people could colour them in. I found a black and white and I thought, oh, I could watercolour it. So that's what I did. So there is a video watercolouring on a napkin somewhere in my... Let's just make sure that I haven't left any little ones out. I've got a holly here, so I need a holly colour. I may not be in frame, so just bear with me a minute. Just colouring this one in. Is that what you want? Is that what you were talking about, Suzanne? The napkin. Now there's another one like that and I don't know where it is. Oh, I've done it just there, look. I've managed to do it. Oh, did you have a good time, Dorothy? That's good. That's fab. So I need a very pale green. I'm just thinking I may leave the berries white because of course they are almost white. Is that what you meant, Suzanne, about the napkin? They're about somewhere. I still haven't got around to my napkin journal yet. And I'm just hoping my neighbour remembers to pick up my daughter. Otherwise she'll be stranded. And that's the ivy colour, wasn't it? Yep. Keep finding all sorts of ones that you've missed. Just to give them that little bit of colour to get that stark white off. In fact, I may change these because I think this colour is almost the colour of the berries. They're just that off-white colour. and the leaves could be a little bit darker. And every time you think you've finished, you find... Right, so I think that's almost finished. I'm going to put a little bit of blue there and a bit of phthalo blue, I think. No, I don't like phthalo blue. I love that colour, but I don't like it there. Yes, it is. Although I say this book is a little bit faster than watercolouring. Suzanne says it's put a little bit of... that's not the right green. I do like that colour, but it's not the green I wanted, because it's not... It's too kind of... I don't like that colour. The thing to do with that is a touch of red. And that might look brown, but actually it's given me a really lovely deep green. Sorry, I wasn't in frame. Just by putting a touch of red into that green. And that's given me my stems. Or stalks, stems. So I've really liked having a bit of a play in this. I've got some nice deep greens, and I've mixed them all myself. Because your greens are so much nicer when you mix them. And you need 2 blues and 2 yellows to get every green on the planet. Having said that, you need oranges and reds to get your teals and your olive colours, your chartreuse. So all those colours are good to mix with £3.50 printer ink. The colours will vary, but the principle of what colour you're adding to what colour is the same, whether it's watercolour, printer inks, oils, acrylics, alkalides, pastels. It's exactly the same. A French ultramarine in whatever will do the same thing in whatever medium it is. And the cerulean blue. Without a cerulean blue, you will never get a bright green. Not in a billion years. Which is why I'm not attempting it. I have a bright green, but I don't have the best green I could have, because I don't have a cerulean blue. I have one cold blue, which is cobalt, but cerulean blue is just the best. And likewise, if you don't have a French ultramarine, you will never get a bright purple. Doesn't matter how much pink you put into it. But if you've got one of each, you can make every colour you want. So I'm just going to finish this off very carefully, and I've taken my time. I wanted to make a good job, even though it's a practice. I wanted it to be nice. It's the first Christmassy colours, so I wanted to make a good job. I want to see what the different greens look like next to each other. So I'll just pan out of there. And if I put autofocus on, I'll just wash the brush out. Oh, it's not that important. You can see that I've got some really, really pale colours. Got some nice cherry reds. Nearly everyone is different. I've got some highlights on some. So again, it wasn't what I was going to do. I wanted some bright colours, but I just love playing with these watercolours. Obviously on here I can go a bit wilder, but I've got to remember that this was my inspiration for buying the Christmas book. I've got lots of other colours books that are realistic. I wanted to be very vibrant like this one. And it isn't, but it was a good practice. But I've got all the colours that I want. I just need a small amount of water, and that's dried, it's not buckled and it's not gone through, and these are extremely vibrant, and I'm using them almost neat, so it proves that you can get some really, really rich colour and not go through. But I always test them on a photocopy first, because some pages are not as good as these. So I hope that was helpful. And I've just really enjoyed playing with my hydrus colours. But so you only need 6. If you don't want to break the bank, buy 6 of every colour, and then you can do your colour mixing. So thank you for watching.